the jungle's back. Got the natty pack in the orange and black stripes.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show. The Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show is brought to you by BetNow.eu. Go to BetNow.eu, use the promo code TRUTH100 to get a 100% cash back bonus on your first deposit up to $500. You can also go to the GurleyTruth.com webpage, click on the banner at the top of the page, use the promo code TRUTH100. I am your co-host for the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I'd like to welcome in number 58 on the 1988 AFC Championship Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Kelly. How you doing, Joe?
Mike, it's like I keep kissing my sister, man. Like I got to take my sister to the prom. You know, it's give me an ugly win. You know, as opposed to these nice looking losses. Again, we battled back. Those guys fought back. But it's a play here, it's a play there, and we're coming up short. We still have horrendous play by our offensive linemen. It was I liked the effort a lot better than San Francisco, but it's we still have a little ways to get there. There's some problem areas, Mike, that unless they're addressed via trade, which we know 99.999% is not a possibility with this franchise. Those problem areas may be bothering us all season, Mike.
Well, those problem areas have bothered us for a few years now, and the problem area is still the offensive line, Joe.
Oh man, you know it just there has to be a guy that's backing up on another NFL team that can play better than what we have out there, because it's you get beat. But we always talk about, like, we know football. We both play football. You know, you coach. You can see the bad footwork. The horrible leverage, terrible hand placement. You look at all these things. You look at an offensive lineman. What makes a good offensive lineman? We have a proven good offensive line coach, unless he was getting more credit than he deserved. But his track record pretty much speaks for itself. So I won't question that. But these guys that we have, we're not just getting beat, here because the guy overpowered us this time, or he had a great swim move, or it's Lawrence Taylor or Reggie White. These are just guys that are just totally dominating, our offensive line. And it's like, this year, defenses are licking their chops when they play the Bengals, because the D-line are, damn sure those are what we call stat games. And you go in there knowing that, hey, we're all going to get a couple sacks, at least a sack here. We're going to get pressure. We're going to get some balls batted down. And unfortunately, Mike, when you look at these things can become contagious. And guys, they're playing so bad that this thing could continue. And it's just going to be terrible just based on the type of team that I believe we have.
Yeah, well, I think the type of team we have is soft. The other thing is turnovers. And, of course, Andy Dalton will be blamed by most Cincinnati Bengals fans. But the last pass was tipped. That's why it looked so bad. I don't know why everybody seems to forget that. Defensively, I think the Bengals were better, but they were probably better because they played a team missing their best running back. And Josh Allen, I just have questions whether he's any good or not.
Yeah, you look at, and I've said, we talked about it last week. When I looked at Buffalo, they had 2 wins. With the Jets and the Giants. Both teams are, in transitions. Both teams have some problem areas. Both teams have some injuries. So this is not a high-powered team. I don't foresee Buffalo to be vying for the AFC Championship. I don't think they're that good. I think they have a good start. They had some lucky bounces. They made some plays on us. Got them ahead early. Our defense, even still, I'm looking at our defense, And Mike, I'm still seeing blown coverages. I'm still seeing blown gap assignments. I'm seeing linebackers still. It's either the linebacker to fill in the wrong hole or the defensive line is taking the wrong gap. So you look at that. I'm looking at all the communication while the quarterback is in his cadence. I'm looking at the finger pointing. You should take that. Those are the things. When I'm looking at that, I'm looking at a team that they're not comfortable with the scheme. And a friend of mine, I was training in the gym today, and one of my guys that he's Kirkpatrick's trainer, and they're having problems communicating the defenses. DBs are playing one coverage, linebackers playing another coverage. Linebacker coach sees it one way, DB coach sees it another way. And that's indicative of their play. When you see that, when you're watching closely, and you see a lot of the miscommunication, those are things, Mike, that you put in on all week. You put in Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. You're going to work, and you know what Buffalo, their tendencies. If they make these certain adjustments, this is what you do. They go on motion. This is what you do, and we're still having problems, man. And I think it's just unfortunate that we're about to play a team that, in my opinion, is damn near just as dysfunctional as ours Monday night.
And the bad thing is Josh Allen throws for 243. They ran as a team for well over 160 yards. You give up 400 yards to the Buffalo Bills, you've got issues. And Dawson Knox, 3 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. I bring him up because he was drafted the round after Drew Sample. So maybe the Bengals scouting department had a little something to do with this also.
Well, you obviously they're not happy with their second-round pick. Most second-round picks are playing, Mike. Yeah. They're playing. Drew Sample's not playing. So you can say what you want, and he's not hurt. He's a UW. He's a Husky. He's a Husky for life. But at the end of the day, your second-round pick, and you're not playing. You signed early enough. You know the offense. You've been in OTAs. You participated in training camp. To me, that's saying that you're not showing anything right now, evidently.
Yeah.
Because if you have a second-round pick that high, they should be at least in the rotation. And you don't see that, Mike. And we can't cry over spilled milk, Mike. That's what it is right now. We have what we have. We damn sure need Gordy back. With concussions, like you said, we don't know how long that is. And apparently it had to be, a lot worse than I assumed, because I'm saying here, he wasn't knocked out or anything like that. You get concussions, and there's different severities of each concussion. Some guys get knocked out cold, and then in football, Mike, you get those dingers all the time. You see those stars; those are all the time. So we can't. It's unfortunate we can't really judge Gordy for where he is, but we need everything that we can get. We need to be fully loaded, and that's with all of our guys. If we're gonna be competitive this year, man.
Yeah, and the thing is this: I think the play calling is inept on offense. There looks like there's no rhyme or reason. He looks like he's just calling plays without thinking about the play after or the play after that, even the way good play callers do. I just, when I see it, they're running a toss play out of a shotgun. It just makes me wonder what the hell's going on, especially when you tell me that the defense is in the same kind of shape.
Well, like we said, this is the Xbox. This is the Xbox generation, man. Everybody, you look at the wave of offense and these new so-called offensive gurus and the type of plays that they're calling, the spread offenses and the simple, the kindergarten running plays that, you have to, as a defense, I know every time you're running the ball because you come in the same formation. You have the tendencies are just absolutely ridiculous, how you can predict what they're going to do. You see, teams at times, using a fullback, I'm putting that fullback in the hole. Third and 1, third and 2. Put the fullback in there. Let the fullback go blow this linebacker's ass up. And get 2 yards. It's an era where it's all trickery. We're going to spread out and we're going to do all these things. And you look at the rules. The rules want the game to be, like Washington State and UCLA, 67-69, whatever that crazy score was. It's this new brand of football, man. And you look at the third and shorts. You're in shotgun. It's third and a half a yard. You're in shotgun. You're looking at everything is trying to out-trick as opposed to we're going to line up. And for the most part, every team, we know what you're going to do. You got to stop us. You look at the game film every week. All week, coaches look at it throughout the year. Offense has been run. The San Francisco, it's the same offense. But, here, they're just going to keep you off balance. It's just an age, man, where I think they're just trying to out-trick everybody. And like you said last week, Mike, you got to utilize what you have.
How about this, Joe? The play that stood out to me is they had the ball 1st and 10 on their own 10. And they're coming out of their backs to their own end zone. And they start off lined up in a bunch to the left with Tyler Boyd and Auden Tate. And what I remember is John Ross motioned across, so you had it 2-by-1. Now, the Bills were playing press coverage on the 2 wide receivers that were over there with Ross. Ross goes in motion, and it goes back to what you talked about last week with the Bengals and the 49ers. The Bills stay in base. They don't move an inch. And the Bengals still try to throw a wide receiver screen to the side where you've got man press, 2-on-2. So when he steps back to catch the ball, you've got 2 defenders, and you can only block 1. And that play should have been audibled out of as soon as they didn't move. But what's happening with the Bengals is the Bengals are trying to trick people. But since they can't run the ball, you can't trick anybody because they're just going to stay base and dare you to throw the ball because you can't run the ball on them. And the play calling here from Zach Taylor, as I like to call him, Opie, is pathetic.
You look at it, and it is. I recall that play also. I'm just like there wasn't any adjustment. And in the football that I know, the football that I remember, a lot of times when you're putting a guy out in motion, you're trying to see what they're in. Everything that we do, and most defenses try to predicate their defensive calls based on what you do. So if you come here, you go in motion, I can say what you're doing. Okay, you're in man. If we spread out, and your linebackers adjust, your D lines adjust, then you adjust. When you seen that there wasn't a call, so this play when it's lined up, it had to be since you're this offensive guru. There's no way that when you practice this and they didn't go in motion. They stayed fat and they stayed in this zone press coverage, that you should have audible. There should have been a different call because you're running right into the heart of where they are. So, it does make you wonder, who's really calling the plays and who's watching. Because, you always, every team, every coach, you always have those second eyes. Because a lot of times you get engulfed in the games, you get engulfed in situations, and you don't see the little things. There should be some second eyes saying, well, hey, Zach, hey, when they're coming here, if we go in motion and they're sitting there, let's audible to this. Because you have an audible. Every single play in the world, there's an audible, that you can call to offset what they didn't do. So, I thought, and in my heart, in this preseason, because none of our guys played, and I know a lot of teams are doing that. But when you have a Tom Brady, and to me, he can take off games in preseason because he runs this like the back of his hand. Well, our guys are running a brand new scheme, a brand new offense, Mike, and I don't know, did they play 4 series in preseason? So, Mike, in my opinion,
yeah.
we're still in preseason, dude. We're still in preseason right now.
How about this? Let's go to the defensive side because this is one that stuck out to me too. It's 2nd and 13, and the Bengals had 5 defensive linemen on the field. Now, that sounds pretty bad to me anyways, but it was to match the Bills' 21 personnel. The only problem is the 21 personnel, they went empty, so the Bengals were caught. Now, not only were the Bengals caught, their linebacker was like 6 yards deep. They lined up in a 52. They dropped both defensive ends and Andrew Billings in the coverage. That left 2 pass rushers to try to get after Josh Allen, who is a mobile quarterback. So what happens is you got 3 defensive linemen in coverage, and it's not going to work. And when you look at this, to watch 3 defensive linemen backpedal 10 to 12 yards downfield in the pass coverage, fucking stupid.
Especially when you have a mobile quarterback. When you have a guy that can move around the pocket, the guy can make plays with his feet. You are going against the strength of your strength of your defense is D-line. So why do I have Billings 330 pounds? Who am I trying to fool? I need to push the pocket.
Yeah, you push the pocket, you collapse with your ends, and you keep Josh Allen in the pocket.
Yeah, you do that kind of stuff when you don't have the personnel. When you do that when you don't have guys that you think that are capable of putting pressure without blitzing. You try and do those things, but those are situations. There are a couple other situations when you look at. I've seen a couple of times that it's 2nd and 9, and my middle linebacker. You got my middle linebacker lining up at 8 yards deep.
Yeah.
So you're seeding, you're giving them 6-7 yards, and we're just going to make but it's still 2nd and 9. You're looking at third and 11, and linebackers, everybody's lined up at 10. A lot of things. I don't know if
well,
Mike,
and
I'm
see,
that
I've heard a lot of people say that at least it's Marvin Lewis. So far, what I've seen may be worse than Marvin Lewis, or just as bad, because they're still burning timeouts when they shouldn't. They had 12 men on the field twice in this game. It cost them a penalty once, which led to a 2-point conversion for the Bills, which is an extra point on the board for them. And it also happened in the 3rd quarter when the Bengals called a timeout to avoid the penalty, which meant they had one less timeout for that final drive. So to me, when I look at this game, I know everybody says, well, he's a new coach, you got to give him time. I don't give a damn if he's a new coach or not. He should know better than what's going on here. And this is unacceptable with everything that I've seen so far.
Well, when you talk about new coach and giving a new coach time, I'm under the impression that's what you're doing with Brian Flores in Miami.
Yeah.
Because you trade away the guys that he thought he can compete with. So you're saying I'm going to give this guy time. That's not what you did in Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, you inherited a veteran team. You inherited a veteran quarterback. You inherited one of the best young running backs in the league. You inherited one of the best wide receivers in the league. One of the best tight ends when healthy in the league. So you're looking at, you have some players in there. So you have guys that can compete. So it's now. This is not a rebuilding year. This is not an overhaul year. We have pieces that we need, and I knew in the beginning, the first OTAs, when they signed Bobby Hart. Yeah. In my heart of heart, when they signed Bobby Hart.
And that offensive line coach is the one that said he thought he was really good. So that's why I don't care what he's done. He sucks.
Yes. When you gave, this is, I read an article today, and, Joe Mixon, I think Joe Mixon is one of the top young backs in the league. And Joe's like, hey, if you're going to come to the game and boo us, if you don't like, you do it. Well, dude, come on, man. Because this is football. So if I'm a family and I got season tickets and I paid $5,000 and you come out there with that BS that you did in San Francisco, I'm going to boo your ass. So is that simple? So, my thing is here, young team, get out the paper. Get out the paper. Stop worrying about. Get out your feelings and go play some damn football. Don't worry about the guys booing. You don't want them boo. That guy that just smacked you, smack him back. San Francisco just smacking you. You're smacking. You should have took it out on them. Don't take it out on the guy who's bringing his family to the game. And he's paid thousands of dollars for the season tickets, and he has to spend $300 for 4 damn hot dogs and 4 pops.
$40 to party.
So at the end of the day, man, this is professional sports. I've never had a problem with fans heckling or talking. You suck. That never bothered me. Just don't hit me in the head with a battery, Cleveland Brown fans. Don't do that.
Hey, Joe, I didn't even play for the Bengals, but in 1984, it was the game. Anthony Munoz caught a game-winning pass a pass to tie the game to send it to overtime or something. We were in Cleveland, and I got hit by it was 84, 85. I got hit by a dog bone, and I was just sitting in the end zone. Yeah. They threw batteries. These are batteries. These AA batteries hitting us in the helmet. So when you talk about that, you talk about a young team with thin skin. So if you got thin skin, man, this is going to be a long season. Unless you turn this thing around and you start kicking ass, when they're not going to compete when you're giving up 160 yards on the ground. You're going to lose. You're going to lose all 90% of the games that you give up 160 yards. Especially when you give up another 250 through the air.
Yeah. On the ground, to me, it's bigger on the ground because they're controlling the trenches. They're controlling the clock when they have 160 yards. So, you can have a team pass for 300-400 yards and don't score. But you're looking at, like you said, the toughness of our team. We got to get tougher. We got to play smarter. We have to be more in tune with the game plan. So I don't know if the coaches are on the same page with the players. I don't know if the linebackers are on the same page with the DBs. I don't know if Joe Mixon's on the same page with offensive linemen. But I think just our offensive linemen. I think they're that bad. The tackles, the tackles are that bad.
I think the whole offensive line's that bad. I think Billy Price is crap. I think the center was Trey something. I don't even know his name. I think he's better than Billy Price. But I don't see Miller. I don't think is very good. So in the end, this comes back to selecting the right players. And the Bengals have fallen way short there. And it's a lot easier to find a running back or a wide receiver than it is an offensive lineman. All right. So this week, Monday Night Football at Pittsburgh. The 0-3 Bengals play the 0-3 Steelers. The Steelers have been conservative with their play calling so far for Mason Rudolph in his first 2 games. He has tried a pass of more than 30 yards in the air just twice in 46 attempts. So I think there is some hope here because the hope is that maybe they're just worse than us. But the thing that worries me more than anything is Pittsburgh's front 7 can get after the quarterback, and Pittsburgh's offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah. So we look at they're in besides the first opening day they weren't ready. Ben got hurt. They weren't prepared for Ben to get hurt, and that game just got away from them. The next 2 games they've competed. They're front 7. They're not hurt, and those guys play. Their offensive line. They have one of the most solid offensive lines in football. If we had their offensive line, I wouldn't say, because everybody played bad against San Francisco, but I think we would have been 2-1 if we had their offensive line, period. Yeah. So even though they're 0-3, their 0-3 doesn't stink like our 0-3. But 0-3 is stinky no matter how you look at it, Mike. They're stinking up the joint from their perspective. So they have a lot of interturmoil stuff going on, with them. In their locker room, and even it's because it's a Pittsburgh Steelers, so they have a lot of they're licking a lot of their wounds right now also as well as we are. But this is a game, this is a week, Mike. This is Steeler week, so ain't no records. It's 0-0. Anytime I don't care how bad saying, when you go into this week and the Steelers are playing the Bengals playing the Steelers, Bengals playing the Browns or Ravens, you're going to get, I think you're going to get the core of what we're going to be this week because it's a Steeler and it's a Steeler week. So you have every reason to be emotionally up. You have every reason to be able to play through that minor injured finger. You have everything in you to, I'm going to study harder this week. I'm going to put in a little more time and watching game film because it's that. So the Steelers are going to get the best of what we have so far this year, and we're damn sure going to get the best of what they have. And on top of that, it's Monday night, Mike.
Yeah, which means we're probably going to lose. Pittsburgh's defense is struggling to get off the field. Opponents are going 18 for 38 on third down in the first three games. They have yielded 425 yards or more in all three games. The pass defense is really bad. They've given up 7 touchdowns and an average of 9.13 yards per attempt. They are failures in both coverage and tackling. Nearly half of the 950 passing yards allowed, 435, have come after the catch. So that does tell me here, the Bengals, if they could get the ball to John Ross, Tyler Boyd, whoever's playing wide receiver, there is a chance here. They just got to get the ball out of Dalton's hands as quickly as possible before T.J. Watt kills him.
Well, you look at it. There's not. I don't think we've ever been worried about our guys being able to get open. But it's you're looking at the time that Andy has, and is he going to rush the pass and overthrow Ross like he did this week? Because that was a touchdown. But you didn't have the time to sit back, set your feet, and put some air underneath the ball. And I think we're going to continue to have problems in the pass because their front seven, they're Tomlin, they're going to come after our ass again. The only way they can win this game is attack our offensive line, and that's what they're going to do. So we have to, with this so-called offensive guru. I'm looking at the Rams. I'm looking at how Jared Goff played Sunday night, and how he commands that offense. And both you and I believe that Andy's not the problem. Andy can make those throws. He can make those.
I think Andy may be the only one that's not the problem here right now.
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna have to. Our guys are gonna have to at some point. We can keep saying that these guys suck, but if this is what we have, Mike, the rest of the year, at some point in time, these guys are gonna have to get tough. At some point in time, Mixon is gonna have to say, "Man, dude, damn, hold your block, man, give me a half a second."
Yeah, and that needs to happen this week, because if it doesn't happen this week, if it happens anytime after this week, it's too damn late.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to happen. You 1-3 is a lot better than 0-4. 0-4, you're really digging yourself a hole. But I mean, we started off 4-0 last year, and look what that got us. But this is to me, this is even more than last week. This is a game, and I kind of alluded to it last week. That this is a game that this is going to test our fortitude. This is going to test our what kind of team we're going to be this year. And if we go in there and we're not able to beat a Pittsburgh Steelers team at its worst, it may be a long season, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, even if they win this game, I think. Because after this, you play the Cardinals, you could beat them. Then you go to Baltimore. So right there, you have to win that game. You win that game, you're a game out or maybe even tied for first if you win these 3 in a row. You got the Jaguars at home, which worries me because they can play defense a little bit. But it's a winnable game. Then you play the Rams in London, and then you've got the Ravens again. So by November 10th, we're going to know if we got a shot at anything or not. But if you look at the rest of the schedule, it's at the Raiders, winnable game, Steelers at home, Jets at home. So it's not impossible. And you still got 2 games against the Browns, who I think are similar to the Bengals, where They have no defense, and they've got a little bit of a defense compared to the Bengals, and they have no offensive line. Plus, you get to play the Dolphins, so we'll win a game at some point.
Yeah.
So, all right, who you picking in this one?
Well, you know what, Mike, I like how they played. I like how they fought back, and I'm going to in my heart of hearts, man, I'm going to say that despite both teams being down, I still think we're better than Pittsburgh. I think we're better than Pittsburgh. I think we have more playmakers, and our playmakers are gonna have to make plays. We're gonna have to play quick on offense. We're gonna have to play smarter on offense. We gotta understand we're not gonna overpower anybody. So let's get that out. Let's do some misdirection plays with Mixon. Let's get Giovanni in the slot here and there. Let him get in the slot. Besides, Alex Erickson, one of the tight ends. Let's put some people in space. And I think, in my heart of hearts, I think that we're going to come out victorious. I think they're going to put pressure on us. I think they're going to dominate our run. I don't think our running game is going to get more than 60 yards again. But I just think that we're going to make one more play, based on their quarterback and based on our quarterback. I see us going into that game, and I see it like 24-21. Cincinnati.
I'm going to say 16-13 Bengals. I think the Bengals will make just enough plays on offense. I think they have more explosive players. I mean, you got John Ross. You hit him deep once or twice, everything will be all right. James Conner, Joe Mixon. I'll take Joe Mixon. If either one of them rushes for 100 yards, that's the team that wins. I doubt either one of them does. But I'm 50-50 on this, Joe. I'm just going to go with Dalton over Mason Rudolph because I don't think Mason Rudolph is the answer in Pittsburgh long-term or short-term.
Yeah. And I think we have to look at that because I think Andy's a veteran guy. Andy is pretty solid. He doesn't he doesn't go up and down. He is who he is. It was unfortunate that he had that tip pass, and he had a couple deflected passes. But I think he's battled back. I think his completion percentage is good. I think he's had good ball placement most of the year. There was, like I said, it was a pass, couple of passes that I'm sure he would run back if he could. But for the most part, he's going to be solid, man. So it's about taking control and command of the offense, man. It's about getting this offensive line, man. Let's get this thing together. I'm not asking. I don't expect us to all of a sudden these guys are going to turn and they're going to be Pro Bowl guys. I don't expect, but I expect you guys to be professional. I don't expect an NFL starter to get beat profusely every in play. You got to win sometime. Because you're a starter. You're not a backup. You're a starter, man. And here. This offensive line coach, man, I think he's in the hot seat because these are his guys. He's unfortunate with the first round pick, Alabama kid, but you chose Bobby Hart. You bought the other guy from the Jets. So these are guys that you looked at on film, and these are guys that you said that you can come in the season and you can win. And right now, man, you are totally wrong as of today's date. So hopefully these guys, man, they can get some kahunas, man, on that offensive line and keep our defense off the field and control some of that clock, man. And I think, we can possibly eke this thing out.
All right, Joe. Hopefully they can eke something out here so this can become more than just me and you bitching. I'm still going to bitch anyway. So it's just I've been a Bengals fan since I was born, which is 50 years ago, and I haven't had a whole lot to cheer for, except for the 80s were all right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap the show up. I want to remind you can hear the Indiana Football Weekly Show, which who doesn't want to hear that, at 8 o'clock tonight, and then the CFL Weekly Pick'em Show with former CFL legend Robert Drummond at 9. And then you can hear the NFL show every day, Monday through Friday at noon with myself and from the FF Face-Off, Anthony Servino. You'll have to come on with us someday at noon, Joe, talk a little NFL.
All right, yeah, good, man. Get me on. Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. I want to remind everybody to go to our sponsor, betnow.eu, get a 100% cashback bonus on the promo code TRUTH100. You can also go to thegrillingtruth.com, click on the banner at the top of the page to get that bonus also. So we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. I want to remind everybody you can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, CastBox, iTunes, wherever you find podcasts. You'll find The Grilling Truth. So, for Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.